You looking for that 1960s, 1970s traditional hunting camp vibe? I got the thing for you right here. What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker, Bushcraft, that's right. Like that traditional feel at camp, especially if you have like a cabin or if you have like a hunting camp that you go to, firing up a gas lantern like makes the world of difference. Now listen, I showed in other videos, we have electric in here because we bring battery packs and we have light bulbs and all that good stuff, but we do use that intermittently. Most of the time we're literally at night firing up a gas lantern. So today I want to talk about the Coleman gas lantern, show you a few things to look at, how to replace mantles and how to actually use these things, because it just seems to confuse people all the time. Alright, so this is what we're looking at, the Coleman gas lantern. This is an older style and the one back here is a newer style. Now these lanterns take the Coleman fuel. They come in containers like this. They also sell smaller containers of it also, but it's fuel that's readily available. You can find it all over the place. Alright, so first and foremost, you want to maybe get a lantern like this. A couple different options. Number one, they do sell these brand new. You can buy a brand spanking new one. I'm sure you could find them online. Just Google Coleman gas lantern, or you can find them at yard sales, flea markets, junk stores, thrift stores, all that good stuff. Now the positive and negative of buying one used. Positive, you're probably going to get it super cheap. The one I have here, this green one, I bought for $6 at our local junk store. I also have another one very similar to this that I bought for, I believe it was $12. So you're not going to spend a lot of money on those. The downfall with buying a used one, especially if it's a little bit older, is that there can be some things wrong with it. So here's what you have to look at if you are buying one of these. Number one, you want to look at the base of the lantern itself. If there is a lot of rust, okay, you want to make sure there's no holes, because this is where all of the fuel is held in this lower section. So if it has a hole, of course it's going to leak. And then secondly, this is sort of unknowing. Maybe there's a trick to this, but what I found is that there is a pump mechanism on here, which I'm going to show you in a little bit how to actually use this pump mechanism. That has a rubber gasket inside. So there's a possibility if it's old and it was sitting around a real long time, that gasket is shot, you would have to take that apart and try to fix that. Otherwise, I mean, there's always a possibility that there's small little leaks or anything like that with it. But generally for the ones that I've bought, and I know my friends have bought, it has been either just a gasket in here, which has been very rare, or I've seen a couple with holes on the bottom. So those, other than mantle decorations, not good for camp. All right, so you get your new lantern or your old lantern home and it's time to clean it up and get it ready for its first use. Real easy, you take this top little screw off, just like this, and then that whole top section should pop right off very easily, and then your globe comes out like that. Now you can clean on the inside, you can clean your globe, make it all nice and pretty. But at this point you have to replace something, and that's these things. They're called your mantles. Your mantle is like your light bulb. You need that operational in order for this whole contraption to work. Now mantles can wear out just from a lot of use, from old age, from a lot of disruption, meaning say you throw this in the back of your truck and it bounces all around and falls over. Your mantles can get messed up from that. Or if you poke at your mantles, which you're going to see in a little bit, you can destroy them that way. Or if you have a what I call mini explosion inside the lantern itself, destroys your mantles. So when you buy one of these, you're going to have to do a little bit of research and see what type of mantles. The mantles are very readily available. Walmart, Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, all those places. They come in little packs like this, usually 2 or 4 mantles. And the majority of the mantles used on these lanterns are number 21s. If you have a lantern that looks a little bit off, you can always research it on the Coleman site. They'll tell you what size mantles you need to get. All right, so let's look at the mantles right here. Okay, what you're going to notice is this mantle on this side right there, okay, has a big hole in it. So that's a damaged mantle. That would still burn, but it's not going to burn optimally. If you look at the other one on the back side here, you can see it is ripped right around the base. Me considering the base this section right here, so it's ripped underneath that. So this, again, it'll burn, but it's not going to be optimal, so we want to replace these. Now, removal of the mantles is very simple. Number one, if it has a metal topper, okay, you just take your two pieces of metal and you literally just open them up a little bit, and then you could just wiggle it off, okay? Now, what you're going to notice here is this mantle, as I touch it, is literally like ash. So it is flaking away to nothing. Now that might make you a little concerned if you don't know, because you got these new mantles and you're like, well, these things feel like mesh. They're nothing like the old ones. But we have to do something to these first. So how we would actually do this is we're going to take our new mantle and you're going to tie your new mantle onto this down gas tube. Okay, so I'm going to just place it over it. Simple and easy. Now you want to go ahead and you want to trim these up, and then we're going to take this inside the cabin and I'm going to show you how we go from this stage to this stage. So I came inside the cabin. It's a little bit windy outside, and when you're working with your mantles, you do want to get in an area that there's not wind to affect this first process, and that is burning your mantle. Now you could do this with a lighter or a match or whatever you want to do it with, okay, but you do need an open flame source. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to light the bottom of your mantle, and it is going to look like it's burning up to nothing, but that is what we're doing to prep our mantle. So I'm just going to put this underneath, and what you're going to see is it's getting all black and burnt. Alright, and it should be holding an ember and looking a lot like our char cloth that we normally use. You just want to give that some time, okay? It's going to take a little bit of time to burn up, alright, and leave us with that very white, fine bit that we need to use as a light bulb. You can see that the black is going away and it's leaving that ash color behind. That's what we're looking for. Now, if it totally burns out, as it just did, okay, a couple things you can do. You can either let it like that, or you can gently, without hitting it, because you will ruin it, you can light it back up. See how I'm getting that to burn better? Okay. You can light that back up that way. And the door slams shut on us from the wind, but you can see what that looks like now in the dark. Actually pretty cool. Okay, so we're just going to let that thing burn out, and then that mantle is going to be good to go. Okay, so once your mantles are complete, okay, you would do that with both of them, you are good to reassemble your lantern. Now, unfortunately, I only had one mantle in the pack. They do come in 2 packs, but I don't know. Somebody used one. It was me. I'm trying to blame other people. It was me. I remember it during the Bushman class. I replaced one because I hit it with the lighter when I was trying to light. But point being, you would do that, reassemble the lantern, and we are at stage 1, and that is going to be lighting. Now, there should be no fuel in that because you just bought your lantern. If there is fuel, what I recommend is, because it's probably pressurized, is to open up the fuel. You hear it? I always let the pressure out, okay? So I let the pressure out, that way I'm starting like baseline 0 and I know what I'm working with. You can top that off if you want. Tighten this, you don't have to tighten with pliers, just finger tighten, it should be good, okay? Now there's a couple different things on here you want to look at. Number one, you have your adjustment knob here, okay? So low flame to high flame, or off to high. And then you have your pump mechanism, okay? Now your pump mechanism moves in and out just like this, okay? If you pull it out a little bit and you turn it all the way to the right, meaning clockwise, okay, that means that the valve is closed. So to pump this, okay, you're going to see there's a little hole on the end of your pump. What you want to do is you're going to pull this out a little bit, you're going to give it a little turn, okay, just about a quarter turn. You're going to place your thumb or one of your fingers over that hole. That's going to hold the air in and start to create pressure inside. And what you're going to do is you're going to pump this about 30 times. Now while I'm doing that, my lantern should be in the off position. So my pump is being pumped, my thumb is over that hole, okay, and it's going to feel like you're building up pressure in there as you go. Okay, so we keep pumping, pumping, pumping. Just take your time. Now, one thing I used to do as a kid is we used to think, oh, we're going to pump this thing like 70 times, okay? It's just going to be more powerful, more bright, it's going to be more awesome. First, you can flood out the system doing that. So 30 times is what Coleman always recommended, from old lanterns to new. And secondly, if you're pumping it correctly, all right, it's going to get full of air inside, all right, between the gas and the air. So you're going to get to the point you're not going to be able to pump it anymore. Maybe you'll get around, if it's a very full tank, like it overflowed, which sometimes happens when filling it, maybe you'll get 20 pumps and you're going to be like, I can't even get the plunger all the way back in. So you have to be done at that point. Now, I only had about a half a tank of gas here, so as I'm getting close, I can't push this all the way in, okay? It's popping out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let a little bit of air out, enough that I can get close to closing it, and then I'm going to rotate it quickly while I let my thumb off, okay? If you just let your thumb off, it's going to let a lot of air out. It's not going to work as well, okay? At this point now, you are ready to ignite. You're pressurized and you're ready to go. Best option for lighting this, in my opinion, is a stick lighter or the extra long wooden kitchen matches, okay? Each lantern has vents underneath. That is how I personally access up to the mantle, okay? Now, when you do this, you have to be a little bit diligent with your time. If you turn your dial and the globe, meaning this section, looks like it's filled up with gas, you need to turn it off and let it evaporate away. The reason why is if I put this under here, the little bomb I talked about earlier, it's like a little explosion inside, goes off and it blows your mantles apart. So we don't want that to happen. So with this one and the old one, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to turn up our dial right here. I go to high on both of the lanterns. I think it works great. And then I stick this up inside. I get close, but not touching the mantle. And I light it up. So I can get up in here. You should hear it coming out. And then right there, you can see it's lit. Now, you're going to notice this jumping action. You're going to see some flame, you're going to see some jumping action. That is somewhat normal until everything starts to regulate itself, okay? So while that's going on, I usually let it go. If it seems like there's a lot of flame, I will give it a few more pumps. It's going to add a little bit more pressure. If there's no pumps to be given, there's none to be given. It was too full, so I'm good. But now, you can see that that's burning way more consistent. We don't have flame, and it shouldn't sound like it's gurgling. If it sounds like that, I do recommend turning it off. When you turn these things off, okay, if it's really dark, I don't know if you can still see it on camera, it's off, you're going to hear gas running. People panic, they start blowing air inside. There's going to be gas in the system. It takes a little bit until it goes out. Those mantles are going to keep burning for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, depending on how long you had the lantern running, but it will go out and it will be good. Again, when you're done, I like for people to, when it's totally out, unpressurize the system so it's ready to go next time. And just like that, you are all certified to run these Coleman lanterns. You know every little bit about them, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit like and subscribe down below. Also, check us out at Coalcracker, Bushcraft.com. Also, check out Coalcracker gear, that we talk about all the gear we manufacture in our shop and the stuff that we sell. And yeah, other than that, all right, go find a lantern and stay lit and stay in the woods.